Right, this is going to kind of be a sort of a homebrew Wednesday-ish kind of catch up. I don't even know what I'm going to name the video, but I've been away for a bit. Some of the videos you've seen have gone up are really old videos. They're kind of beer reviews from the Beers of Europe beers that I got just before Christmas. There's a beer kit review, which is the winter warmer. Again, that was sent by Muntons, thanks to them. Some of it was kind of done over Christmas, but kind of the videos have took a while to get up, and I kind of will explain that in this video. I don't want to get too in depth on it and make the video too long because I feel that it could get quite wordy. But I am going to crack open a homebrew that I made myself from a beer kit I got from Malt Miller. When you go on the Malt Miller now, you can do the recipe creator, and I think there's thousands on there now of recipes that other people have created. And you know, I've got the 10 litre Braumeister. I looked on there to see what other 10 litre recipes there were. I put one of my own on there just because I wanted to get the kit. All the ingredients kind of pre-crushed, the hops to the right amount. It's just, for me, a lot easier doing those recipes sometimes just because you don't have all the half hop packets in the freezer. The wife doesn't really like them kicking around. I've got a lot of full hops in there which are going to come in handy when I do some beers. But when you've got all these half packets now, you don't know what to do, and you've got those Use Up brews. You know, they are good beers, you know, that you can do, but sometimes I just don't like all that kicking around. So that aside, I had that and a 23 litre wheat beer kit. This was meant to be a Dunkelweizen, I think. I don't think it quite turned out how it was meant to be. I mean, not through the person, because they hold no claim that the recipes, you've got to know kind of what you're doing with kind of the recipe itself, because a lot of the recipes people obviously put on there, they don't include their instructions of obviously when you add the hop additions and that, but this one was like a fairly straightforward, like wheat beer, kind of a very low addition at the start, and I think that was about it. There might have been a small one at the end, I don't think there was, obviously, because you know they're not very heavily bittered, but I'm going to crack it open. It hasn't been long in the bottle, if I'm honest, and I'll tell you why in a bit. I don't think it really fermented out too well, this one, but I used I think it was a Mangrove Jack's yeast, which are normally pretty good, and I think it was pretty good, but I think it was partly, I'm going to chuck all it's quite cloudy anyway. It looks alright, it's cloudy like a wheat beer should be. It's got a great cap on it, and it tastes fantastic. That's the reason that it's being drunk so quick. With the 10 litre Braumeister, obviously you get a small batch, it's about 20 bottles, which I think is perfect. A lot of people would disagree, I would guess, but for me, I've got them 20 bottles, maybe slightly less in this instance, and I'll touch on that as well. And then you're on to the next beer, which is variety is the spice of life, as they say, and then you're on to your next beer, which is fantastic. So I kind of went to look for like the mash schedule of a Dunkelweizen and that, and it had all these different schedules you can do, and because I got the Braumeister, I thought I'd program it all in. But I think I've kind of mashed it to a point where it's been very hard for it to kind of ferment out totally, so it's obviously retained a little bit, and it only would drop to about, I think it was 10, 15, 10, 18, and then it wouldn't go any further. But it's fine, it was never going to be a strong beer, and if I'm honest, going forward, I'm probably not going to brew a whole heap of strong beers. I don't mind, when I get beer reviews and that, and I've got other people's strong beers, or I've got commercial strong beers, but I tend to don't go out my way to get a really strong beer. I guess the maximum strength I'll probably go if I'm going to buy it is a 6%. I got a nice 6% beer from the supermarket the other day that I haven't had for a while. I'll show a bottle of that in it, which I think is a fantastic beer. But funnily enough, after I had the first bottle and I haven't had it for so long, that tastes fantastic. I had another bottle last night. Just didn't taste the same. It's weird. It's like, just, I don't know. There could be what do you call it? My brain's gone. A difference in the batches maybe, and that's where it wasn't as good. Anyway, I'm going to have still a fantastic beer, if I'm honest, that I've managed to create at home. I haven't brewed for so long that when I did brew it, I wanted to use the Braumeister just because I felt so kind of out of touch with it. I just kind of, I don't know, almost like I'd forgotten what I was doing, and I didn't really make any crazy mistakes, but what I did do, I didn't chill it down. My last two beers I haven't chilled. I thought with the wheat beer it wouldn't matter so much because of the hop additions. I just put it straight into a cube, cooled down, and then pitched it into the fermenter, added the yeast, and it's turned out great. I can't fault it. I can't get any flavours personally. Maybe someone else might try it and I think it tasted a bit crap, but it's doing me right now. Second beer I've done is a wheat beer, but rather than turn it into a wheat, I guess I've turned it into an American wheat. I just brewed up the schedule I was going to do, and I initially bought these kits to brew over summertime, so when my temperature control in the flat is just none or non-existent, I can get away with the higher temperature rising and I get like a nice beer. Come the winter I tend to do more of the ales and stouts, things like that when it's a lot cooler. So I thought, what can I do? I'm not really going to have the warmth to kind of get the esters from the yeast, even though this is quite banana-y and clovey. I'm surprised I didn't ramp it up that higher temperature, and it's been quite cool the last several weeks or so. I thought I'd just do a brew in the bag on the what's it called? That's it, the induction thing. I've got the induction stove, the SS Brewtech pot. I did a brew in the bag. I think it was like a 60-minute mash, maybe 90 minutes because time got by. Then a 60-minute boil, which did really crazily nearly boil over when I had my small child. I was just sitting on the sofa, I looked over and there was just this big volcano coming up, but I managed to save it. And then I put about, this is the thing, I thought, I've got to do this brew in the bag and I've got to do the cube, and I've forgotten all the kind of things, so I sent a message out to Ant Rogerson and asked him his expertise. He's the kind of the cube, I'd say he's the cube master. He's done probably the most no-chill cubes I know of people that have been brewing. There is Tiny from Australia, but I would say Ant Rogerson is the UK cube master. So I consulted him. He sent me an email back kindly, and I've chucked in about 45 to 50 grams of mosaic in there. I'm tempted to dry hop it with something else just because I've got hops to use up from previous times. But yes, I put it straight in the cube, boiling hot water in there, and I used the cube from the Malt Miller Fresh Wort Kit, which if you haven't bought a Fresh Wort Kit from Malt Miller, you should, because they're fantastic. You're getting brewery grade wort to transfer into your fermenter, add the yeast, and you've got brewery grade beer if you like. As long as your sanitation's okay, your fermentation temperature's okay, and your yeast is okay, they are kind of minors compared to doing the whole brew day, and it's going to probably take you like 5 minutes, I'd say 10, as long as you've got a clean fermenter, it's nicely sterilised. You pour it in, it's nice and agitated where it's come out of that container, you tip your yeast in, done, that's brew day. Perfect. So I use the cube, and the cubes that come from the Malt Miller are fantastic. I don't know where they get them from, but compared to cubes that I've got before, they really go. I mean, this still does go a little bit soft once the boiling wort's in it, but compared to some containers that feel like like a balloon filled with water, you can't barely hold it, it's going all crazy and that. This really retains its shape, it feels solid, it's heavy without even any liquid in it, it's a real solid cube. So for me, I think the price point, if you look at those kits, some people might say, I think they're around the £30 mark, some people might say that's quite a lot. You pay about 22, 25 for a decent 2-can malt extract kit now, and you're getting brewery grade wort for about 30 quid, and you're getting a container. And most of them containers, when you consider the cost, are about £10 sometimes. So if you shave that off, it's only cost you 20 quid for the kit because you can use the cube again. Granted, some people might not use the cube again, but I think you'd be crazy not to give the the no-chill cube a try. Sampling of the wort the next day when it was out of the ferment, I put it in the Brewtech, so I took it out of the little tap. It's tasting fantastic already, so I'm hoping for good things for that one, because it's a kind of a wheat beer grain bill, kind of is it like wheat malt and I don't know the other one. My brewing thing is just gone. It's just there's grains in there, and it's meant to be a wheat beer, but it's like an American wheat. It's tasting good already. So that's what's been going on in brewing. I do plan to do some other beers. I might get the camera out. I've got to do a stout. I feel like I need to brew my own stout. With summer coming up, it's a bit dubious about what I'm going to be able to brew, so it might end up going back to brewing some more kind of wheat beer style things. Yeah, but anyway, that aside, I've kind of been away. I don't want to touch on this too much because I'm not saying it's a sore subject for me, but how to broach it. If I'm honest, I've kind of been really down, depressed, if I'm brutally honest. I'm not doing this video, I'm not tacking this on the end of the video if anyone's got to this stage after 10 minutes for sympathy and that or anything, because that's not what I'm seeking out. It's purely just to say that I've kind of, for one reason or another, due to work, not really home life, but there's, you know, I'd say there's elements in there that might impact on it. You know, different things in life have got me to a point where I felt really, really low. I didn't want to brew. I mean, brewing last about 3 weekends ago when I brewed this wheat beer, probably one of the hardest things I've done for a long time, to have the energy to do it. I've been going for therapy, talking therapy. I was very close to going on antidepressants, but didn't really kind of want to go down that road after what the GP was saying about how they can make you feel worse. And I have felt, you know, low to a point where I've thought some really stupid thoughts. And I think the reason I'm putting this out is I think there's a lot of people out there, and I read some scary statistics that, you know, that suicide in men under the age of 30 or something like that is one of the biggest killers in the UK. I don't know if it's the world or the UK, but there's a certain statistic out there, and I read it, I was just like, wow, that's quite powerful. And I think I just wanted to put it out there. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm in a perfect position myself to be offering people that are struggling with support, but I think for me the biggest thing was not telling other people. You know, my family, for me, and I'm not telling everyone now, because I'm pretty much telling everyone by putting it on here, because I want sympathy, because I think when you're down, for me personally anyway, it was the last thing I wanted was other people to worry about me, because I felt that it was my problem to deal with alone, you know, my cross to bear kind of thing. And I think with men there's that whole thing, you know, that you know, I've cried a lot, if I'm honest. You know, I've been really low to different people, you know, people you wouldn't be, you know, you'd be surprised, you really, you know, opened up to some people that you'd be surprised you can, because it's easier to open up to them than your own family. Because, you know, when I did, I felt that then my family were worrying about me, and they would get, you know, I think after 12 minutes this camera has to do a tack on another bit, so yeah, I kind of didn't want to put the burden on other people too much, and I think that was a bad mistake on my part, because I think that after telling a lot of people, obviously they were more understanding of how I was feeling and things like that. You know, just I think if it's anything to say from this video, it's just to kind of, if you are feeling a little bit, you know, for whatever reason, I think to talk to people is the key, because if you don't and you bottle it up, it's the worst thing. You know, from going to my therapy sessions, they talk about low mood and anxiety and things like that. And one of the things that is detrimental is the small things. You know, like my hobby. You know, if I won't lie, there's been a point where I've considered not brewing, and that's mainly not due to my just kind of like mental health, if you like, but my physical health. I have got some kind of issue going on with my throat at the moment. I don't even know what it is, because the hospital and the doctors haven't diagnosed it. They haven't said I need to stop drinking, but in my mind I'm worried that, you know, further drinking could be worse than it, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, you go to kind of therapy and they say you need to tackle your low mood by doing things you used to love doing. I love brewing, but in my mind brewing makes beer and beer makes my throat worse. Can I drink because am I going to make myself worse for the future? You know, I don't want to end up not being here for my children. That it's, you know, and there's been like an endless loop. But, you know, I've thrown caution to the wind. I'm not drinking alcohol every night and stuff like that. I've just kind of got back onto the horse, if you like, because it did make me happy to kind of, you know, brew again and have that beer there that I can have when I want it, kind of thing. And I think the key as well was to kind of, I think I did that prior to kind of slowing down with brewing, was to not drink so much on the weeknight. You know, I don't say I'd ever drink a crazy amount, but kind of doing the beer review sometimes in the week and then having that beer, it's too much. So kind of really save it for the weekend and enjoy it a little bit more. So yeah, I've had a whole heap of stuff going on, and I'm not saying that I'll probably quit brewing. I really hope I don't have to get to that stage. I wouldn't like that. And I've got to admit, I've uploaded a video of me reviewing a microwave. Now, I know there'd be some people, and I know I saw a few. I don't really tend to look at my subscribers much anymore, because it's not to say it doesn't bother me. I appreciate the subscribers, but I think when I first started doing it, I used to get pent up on it. Oh, you know, you've lost a couple of... If life's too short, if you've lost a few subscribers, you've lost a few subscribers. You get a few thumbs down, it's still engagement. You didn't like it, whatever. And I know, I appreciate that it's not brewing, it was a microwave, but tell me, hand on heart, if, you know, most people here that are watching this were offered a chance to review something, and my microwave broke the week before I did this review, so it was like a blessing. I was like, oh my god, I've got a chance to review a microwave, honest review, and I get to keep it. Who who's going to knock that, you know, back? And I appreciate that you're watching the channel. You think, well, this isn't beer, but you can clearly see it's a microwave. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. You know, if it ever kicks off and I end up being a reviewer for electrical appliances, by all means, I'll set up a whole new channel. But as it stands, it's an irregular thing that happens every now and then, and I just put it on my channel because I can. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. I can't please everyone, and I don't profess to, so it's just one of them things. I think, you know, when you're watching your TV and you're flicking through and you see something shit on TV, you turn over. You know, you don't really even need to leave a nasty comment. The people that leave the nasty comments are the people that write to points of view on the BBC, aren't they? Things like that. But, you know, everyone's got an opinion, you know, they're entitled to it, but whatever. So, you know, it's not a rant, I'm just letting you know that if you do decide to unsubscribe because of that, or you thumb it down, it's okay, you know, I'm fine with that. I have had an opportunity to review a couple of things. One kind of didn't pan out too well. I'm not going to name names or anything like that because it wasn't their fault, but a company from America decided they're going to send me a fermenter. It looked really fantastic. I couldn't wait to review it. It came here, this was just before Christmas. It got stuck at customs. They wanted a crazy amount of money to release it. I contacted the company, but unfortunately by the time they contacted me back, I wasn't be able to claim the parcel then, and it had kind of gone, so I don't know where that fermenter's ended up, whether they've claimed it back or not, who knows. If they're watching, I'm happy to review it. If you still want to send it again, you know, if I was honest, I thought it was coming from a UK distributor or a wholesaler or something like that, and then I was going to get to review. I didn't realise it was coming all the way from the States. But that said, you know, I wasn't aware I was going to have to pay anything. They were happy to pay the customs, but it just, the time frames got all out of, you know, whack, and before we knew it, I guess it's lost in limbo somewhere, so that's not going to get reviewed. There's a couple of other things in the pipeline, definitely, that are going to come up for review. I might even do a brew day soon. I think just because I've been kind of behind on a few things, we're feeling a little bit down, things have took a back foot and I'm kind of catching up with things, so kind of brewing's took a back foot. Before I kind of went a little bit, I don't know, sad if you like, I was almost teetering on getting into water treatments. I bought the stuff to get into it, and I feel like I've kind of gone the other way now. I feel like the other day when I did a brew in a bag, I almost didn't know like what volumes to put in my pot, and when I used to do the brew in a bag, I knew it to a T. I didn't even used to use the BI Bag Brewer calculator, which is an Excel spreadsheet. Absolutely fantastic if you haven't used it, because it will tell you how much, once you've put in your dimensions of your kettle, how much headspace you've got for how much water you're doing if you're doing a full mash brewing bag where you add all the water at the start. So it tells me my one, if I'd put everything I had in the start, it would be like I'd have a centimetre from the top, which is perfect, because what you can sometimes do is take that 5 litre or 2 litre, wherever it is, out, add your grain, and then see how much you can get back in. And for me, I still had about 3 litre that I couldn't get back in, which I just did a mini sparge at the end, and it turned out fine. Well, I haven't had the beer yet, but the brew day went okay. So yeah, I've kind of feel like not like I've forgotten how to brew, but I just feel like I need to kind of start and uncomplicate things. So I thought I'm going to do a few like cube beers where I haven't got to worry about getting the chiller out. It takes that much longer to brew. You know, if I'm honest, I think it's an excellent way of brewing, but you know, I think there's only certain things you can do, and it has its limitations. But so that aside, I'll be doing a few cube beers. I might do a brew day footage and that. Definitely going to review some equipment and that soon. There's a couple of things I need to get. I do need to get a new grain mill at some point, but I'm sort of hankering on buying too much equipment at this point for, like, you know, I know I'm not going to give up this hobby, but you know, how much am I really going to invest in it? But that aside, I'm kind of, you know, once, you know, health issues, if they resolve, fantastic, I'll be back on it. You know, I'm not going to kind of go drinking every night and crazy like that, but at the moment I'm kind of taking it easy and taking it, you know, as it comes. But kind of I enjoyed brewing again. It was quite a relief. A supermarket beer, before I go, that I did have the other night, that I bought. Tesco's have got a fantastic selection of beers. The Vocation beers, which I love, never seem to be on special again. I think they've cottoned on that. People love them, and they're not going to make them cheap again now. Redwell Brewing are in my local Tesco now as well, which is fantastic. A lot of people disagree, you know, because you're buying on craft beer sites, you're paying £2-3, and in Tesco it's £1.80. And it's funny because to me now £1.80 is too dear, because they've had them on special even cheaper when they do a 5 for however many. It's amazing because how much you're not prepared to pay for something when you know you can get it cheaper. But before that, you'd be happily paying £3 for it because you knew it was great. But are you going to pay that for it again once you know? I don't know. And I had this the other night that I haven't had for a long time. I don't know if it'll focusing, which I think when I first tried it a long time ago was absolutely fantastic. And I don't even remember it being bottle conditioned, but it says it's bottle conditioned. It is, but I don't remember it being bottle conditioned before. Maybe it always was. And I forgot that it was 6%, which is quite a strong beer really for, like, you know, some of these supermarket fare. For the bottle conditioned ones, I know you've got Bishop's Finger, which is quite a strong one. But this, it's not super hopped. I mean, we've all probably had black IPAs that are much more hoppier than this. But if you want a nice black IPA that you can get from the supermarket, you can't do wrong by this. This is, I think it's a really, really nice beer. I do rate it. I think my go-to supermarket beers would probably be that, if I want a black IPA. And for just a general hoppy beer, if the vocation's not special, is Adnams Ghost Ship. Absolutely love that. And a Tesco near me recently had, I think it was 20 tins for £12, which was just fantastic. They're normally on special. You normally get it for about £1 a tin if you get like the 4-pack for £4. But very rarely kind of can you get a really good deal. But a really fantastic beer. So I realise now this video is probably edging into 20 minutes, and most people probably know I've been watching at this point. But that's where I just wanted to kind of put it out there. That's where I've been. That's where I am. I've got to say, over the past few weeks, I'm, you know, at least 80% better. I would say you know, I've reached a turning point. I've got a new job on the horizon, and I'm hoping it's going to work out. Hoping it's going to, you know, at least help a little bit with kind of my happiness, if you like, in life, because you spend most of your life there, and if you're not happy there, what are you going to do? So that aside, I feel like I'm getting there in terms of things, but obviously I realise it's not the whole answer, it's not the whole picture. You know, I've got to, you know, got my health sorted and get everything else sorted. So, you know, I'm not, when I say my health, I'm not like on death's door, you know, and there's people out there that are far worse. I don't claim that I'm, you know, I'm really, really bad. It's just that, you know, when you've got something that you worry could be bad for the long term, it's kind of one of them things, you know. And until it's been diagnosed, your mind's always kind of playing tricks on you, worrying you about, you know, what it could be and whatnot. And the internet's a terrible place now. You know, back in the day when the resources weren't available, you was ill, you went to your doctor, you trusted them. Now you can Google, 10 minutes later, you've got a life-threatening disease because you've read it on the internet. That's the trouble. So I've had that going against me, stuff like that. But yeah. This has been a bit of a long one. Probably quite an open one, if I'm honest. Stuff that I probably wouldn't have normally said, but I felt like I needed to, much to get it out there, just to let people know. Just because I think there's probably a lot of other people that feel like that sometimes, and I think that, you know, the key to it is telling other people. If you don't tell other people, talking of which, I had a fantastic offer from Graham Glanders. About going up to Scotland for a beer thing. I would have been well up for it, but I had to message him and say, like, you know, I can't at this point. I've had a couple of other good offers, if I'm honest, beer related, that I've just had to say, look, you know, I'm really sorry, I've not been having a great year, and, you know, thanks, but no thanks. And hopefully I'll get there one day. But the past 12 months have just been a bit like up and down, and, you know, the last, I'd say 6 months have been severely down for me. But I feel like I'm climbing back a bit. I think everyone's got their demons they're fighting for whatever reason. You know, I think that, you know, you've just got to talk to someone. Anyway, there will be beer related videos soon. You know, I understand that we had a microwave and now we've had a really kind of, whatever you call this video, but cheers.